9 facts about Stone Cold Steve Austin. You won't believe the last one. 1. Stone Cold Steve Austin dropped out of college with just hours left before finishing his degree. Like his main nemesis, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Austin played football in college. He earned a scholarship to be a linebacker for the University of North Texas before an injury pushed him to play defensive end. He was quickly drawn to the world of professional wrestling and quit school to pursue his dream. He had just around 17 hours left to complete before he would have graduated with a degree in physical education. 2. He survived off potatoes and canned tuna as a young wrestler. His first wrestling class with trainer Chris Adams cost $45, which he paid for by working on a loading dock for $12 an hour. Once he began actually wrestling in matches, he would earn between $15 and $20 a night, leading to some tough choices about how to budget those scant funds. For breakfast, lunch, and dinner, I'd have a can of tuna fish and a potato. I didn't have anything to cook with, so I peeled the potatoes with my pocket knife, Austin once said in an interview. After 3 or 4 days of that, my tuna fish ran out and I hadn't got paid yet, so I'd have to wait until the next payday. 3. His Stone Cold stage name came from a cup of tea. Austin started his career wrestling in the United States Wrestling Association, World Championship Wrestling, and Extreme Championship Wrestling, before getting a job with the World Wrestling Federation, the WWF, which later became WWE. In the WWF, he was originally called the Ringmaster, a highly technical wrestler whose finishing move was a version of a sleeper hold. He soon grew tired of the character and suggested his persona be something cold, after watching a documentary about the emotionless hitman Richard Kuklinski, aka the Iceman. But once he heard the names that WWF's creative team came up with, Otto von Ruthless and Fang McFrost, among others, he knew he was in trouble. As he lamented the names at home with his wife over a cup of hot tea, she pointed out that his drink was getting stone cold since he wasn't drinking it. The name clicked, and the Otto von Ruthless bullet had been dodged. 4. Bruce Willis inspired him to shave his head. At the beginning of his career, Austin sported long blonde locks, which was the standard look for wrestlers in the 80s and 90s. But over time, his hair began to thin. After watching the Pulp Fiction movie with Bruce Willis, that's the haircut that inspired me to get the buzz cut. The short buzz cut lasted a few months, but he soon decided to go all in and shave the remaining hair off with a razor blade. The remaining goatee completed the look. 5. Stone Cold. Steve Austin coined 2 iconic catchphrases on the fly. On June 23, 1996, Austin defeated Jake the Snake Roberts at the King of the Ring event and improvised a post-match promo to further humiliate his foe. Roberts was a former superstar who'd recently returned to wrestling with a Bible-thumping persona, which Austin used in his denigration, saying, "Talk about Psalms, talk about John 3:16. Austin 3:16 says, "I just whipped your ass." Austin credits part of the idea to the John 3:16 signs common at college football games. The phrase was unscripted, but after fans began bringing Austin 3:16 signs to events in the weeks and months after, it became one of the most recognizable elements of his career. As Austin ended his promo saying, "For the first time, and that's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so." 6. The beer he drank was real. Well, except that one time. Austin contends that all the beer he chugged during events was real, except for one event in Montreal, Canada, where drinking would have been against the building code. They used non-alcoholic beer that night, but every other night, Austin was drinking the real deal. "I can't tell you how many times I left the ring and I had a little bit of a buzz because of all the beers I was drinking," Austin once said on his podcast. When you're shotgunning anywhere from 6 to 12 beers, and maybe you get half of them in, on an empty stomach after you've wrestled, it goes to your head pretty quick. 7. The Stone Cold Stunner used to be the Ace Crusher. Austin's signature wrestling move, the Stone Cold Stunner, was one of his trademarks throughout his career, but it wasn't something he came up with. Before fans associated the move with Austin, a wrestler named Johnny Ace used a similar move and called it the Ace Crusher. 8. He credits Jim Ross for branding his persona. The man who named the Stone Cold Stunner was legendary commentator Jim J.R. Ross. While Austin was a master at promos and catchphrases and drinking cold beers and tea, he gives Ross credit for boosting his branding. In addition to naming the Stunner, JR also gave him the Texas Rattlesnake nickname, which was featured on t-shirts, posters, and anything else WWE could license. Before the last fact, comment your favorite thing about Stone Cold Steve Austin. 9. Stone Cold Steve Austin now has his own beer. Austin was famous for chugging beers in the ring after matches and dumping the suds on his fallen opponents. Budweiser, Coors Light, Miller Lite. It was all fair game for the WWE Hall of Famer. In the years since he retired, Austin made a natural business decision by creating his very own beer. 2 of them, actually. In 2015, he teamed up with El Segundo Brewing Company to release Steve Austin's Broken Skull IPA. In March of 2022, Austin and El Segundo collaborated again to release the Broken Skull American Lager. Did any of these facts surprise you? Comment below and let me know. Also, don't forget to follow for more crazy wrestling facts.